Hey everybody, welcome to another review episode of House of the Dragon. This is episode 6. If you guys thought that this series was dragging, this episode put it to an end. It takes place 10 years after the last episode ended. And in this episode, we see Emma D'Arcy and Alicent cook as Princess Rhaenyra and Queen Alicent. If you ask me, this is the weakest episode of the series. We didn't get so much action here, but what we did get was a lot of strong females, and it was a female-dominant episode. We definitely got to see the trajectory of Princess Rhaenyra and Queen Alicent, and they are diverging. They're not going to be coming together. They are in loggerheads, and we saw this coming. You know what else we saw coming? The further deterioration of King Viserys and the further impersonation of an ostrich. He, like always, has his head buried under the sand. He has no idea what to do. He wants to act naive and think everything is hunky-dory. And then you have Prince Daemon. He is off doing his own thing. In the last 10 years, he is free of responsibility, not worrying about who's heir and who's not, and off living a carefree life. So what else happens in this episode? Let's find out. So Tino, a female-driven episode.
I loved it. I agree. This was the weakest episode so far. I felt like this was a rush job throughout, something you expect from maybe the first episode of a series, not, this way around. I get it. They had to rush it a little bit because, look, 10 years have gone by since the last episode. You can't really go over all of those things that happened 10 years. But to be honest with you, a quick recap, here's what happened in the last 10 years, right? That would have helped a little bit because I do feel like some of the characters that we saw, new characters in this episode, we missed the background. We missed their story.
I don't think we needed any background because it did just jump in. We already know who everyone is. There was only one new guy, and we found out pretty quickly who he is
And
as
new
well.
kids.
Exactly. There's kids going on, but I'm glad they didn't show, oh, this was the first birthday. This is the second birthday. This is the third birthday. We just went on with the story. We basically got the gist. And the gist was that Princess Rhaenyra and Queen Alicent are not getting together anytime soon. Their friendship is long gone, and they are fighting for different causes. But Game of Thrones had a lot of physical violence and sexual violence against women. What House of the Dragon has is a lot of labor and delivery scenes.
Yeah.
And each one is different. Each one means something else. And as a woman who has gone through this, I felt the anguish and the pain and just, all the sounds that were coming. I was like, oh God, I feel sick. Oh God, I feel sick. And what was insane to me was just how different Princess Rhaenyra's labor and delivery went from her mother's. Obviously, her mother was a scapegoat. They didn't care about her life. It was all about the heir, trying to save the baby. Here, this is Rhaenyra's third delivery, her third son. She knows what's going on, and she is so strong. This girl has superhero powers, apparently, because right after giving birth to her son, she's ready to pick him up and walk towards Queen Alicent, who has ordered to see the son as soon as he's born. And I'm thinking, wait, she can't even relax? She can't send the baby by Sir Laenor or a maid, like why does she have to go? What is so pressing? Why does Queen Alicent need to see that? And I'm thinking she just wants to exert her role, her power.
Yes,
like I'm the queen. And then we see Sir Laenor, he's just like a standby. He's not an active participant. And he's like, okay, I'll take the child. No, you can't take the child. I am going to take the child. I will do it. So this girl who is literally, she just birthed the placenta out. She has her baby in her hands. She is walking through a crowded area. So obviously there's no COVID going on because you can take a newborn into the public. And then from there, she's walking up steps. Like, seriously, this lady has some superhero strength.
Man, I was like, isn't there a wheelchair somewhere? Can someone pick her up and take her?
Yes, where's the damn litter?
Yeah, well, and to be honest with you, even if there was, I feel like Rhaenyra insisted on walking because she did not want to look weak, right?
Yeah.
All of those things will be sign of weakness. And she was like, screw it.
Yeah.
I am going to walk, blood dripping everywhere, right?
And obviously they weren't going as, hey, let me show you your new grandchild. No, there was obviously something going on. She's cursing, like, fuck, I have to do this. And Laenor is like, what is our problem? Are we still having to do this? So something is obviously up. And then you see when they go into the chamber that Alicent is like, oh, okay, you had another kid, huh? Let me see. And she looks at the kid and then she goes to Laenor and she's like, okay, keep trying. Maybe one day your kid will look like you. And I'm like, what is going on here? Is she trying to point out that he has a different skin tone? Like, what is this?
Actually, I thought when she was going up and she was holding the baby, she moved the blanket kind of from the baby's head. So obviously
Mm-hmm.
she knew what the baby looked like, right? But she moved the
Yeah.
blanket from the baby's head to see the hair, a little bit of the hair that you could see. And she
Yeah.
that's when she goes, oh fuck. Because she was hoping that, man, I hope maybe this one has a little bit of the blonde
Yeah.
hair for me from Rhaenyra, and they didn't. I think
Yeah,
maybe
so
that's what she was
basically
implying.
that was the issue here, which we didn't really pick on. And then we realized, not only with that statement and the fact that Viserys is like, oh, wait, I don't want to hear anything. I don't hear anything. Like there's nothing going on here, nothing to see. And then you see basically in the next scene that when Rhaenyra is there with her newborn child, her other kids are there playing, there's another guy in the room. And it's like, how can a guy, a random night, just be in the
Yeah,
room in such an intimate occasion? She has just given birth. And then
yeah,
it's like, okay, he's a little too familiar. Then you look at the kids, the older kids, you look at the way he's holding the baby, you look at their exchange, and you're like, he's the father.
yeah. And you saw it actually from his emotions, from his eyes, the way he was behaving in front of her. Like he was actually concerned for Rhaenyra, showing that, okay, look, I don't know if there's a love thing or not, but obviously he cared enough to basically, be worried for her and for the kid, and he was
He
so happy
might
to
be
see the
just
kid.
another Sir Christian Cole. The only difference is he got 3 kids on her, and that's it. He could
He
just be
was okay
another.
with being the whore. That was the difference.
Yeah, a Kristen Cole was not okay being the whore. He is. And also, the difference here is appearance. Obviously, the kids look nothing like their father, Sir Lenore. But when Lenore names the child as Joffrey, Alicent
Yeah,
had even pointed out, oh, that's not our Targaryen name. So then
yeah,
there's another seed right there that you are not the father. And then Rhaenyra plain questions him, like, I am the mother. How in the hell can you name the kid without asking me? And he's like, I am the true father. I have a right. He's my kid. Of course I can name him. So it's like
yeah,
he's trying to prove that, hello, I
yeah.
know what you're doing on the side. Obviously, this is not my kid, but I am the father. I am the father.
He behaved like a little teenage kid throughout this whole episode. We see that he's just hanging out, drinking, just partying up.
Yeah.
We don't see him involved at all actually throughout the episode with any of the kids, right?
Yeah,
Either
because they're
sitting
not
down
his
with them or anything.
kids. They're not his kids, and he
Yeah.
knows
So
it,
it's
and it's
like,
on
okay,
his
so
face
dude,
all the time. And
yeah,
so that's the thing. He's out doing his thing because we see that he's like, I've had this responsibility for 10 years. I've done my duty here, and now I want to go and travel the world. I miss the sea because he's a Valerian. They belong on the sea.
yep,
And, Rhaenyra's like, hell no. You have to be here because shit went down. But she's like, I'm the princess, I'm the heir, and I command you that you have to stay with me. So
yep.
if orders are being given between a husband and a wife, you know that this is not really happening. This is
Wait
not
a minute, you
really
command me
anything.
all the time. I say yes, ma'am, and do it.
Yeah, right. When the kids are at the dragon pit, we see the Targaryen kids, Alicent's kids, and we see Rhaenyra's kids. And you see the stark difference between them. Alicent's kids have the telltale signs of a Targaryen. White blonde hair, blue eyes, and you see Rhaenyra's kids, brown hair, brown eyes, right? So you see the delineation here, and Alicent throughout the episode is trying to show that to Viserys and to anyone who will listen. Like, hello, people, am I the only one that's seeing this? Am I crazy or something? Do you guys not see that this is not the Targaryen line, right? This is some imposter going on.
That's right.
And so then you see Aegon. He's older. He's obviously a teenager now. He's a little bit of a bully, a little bit of a narcissist. He bullies his own brother, and his mom is having none of it. She's like, we have enough tensions. We have enough enemies. Why are you adding yourself onto the list? Take care of your brother, because if Rhaenyra takes the throne and her kids become heir, you are in trouble because
Yeah.
you simply living and breathing is a detriment to her rule. And so he's like, oh shit, yeah, maybe I should stop masturbating in the air and do something.
Aegon doesn't want the throne. it was very clear. He's a teenager. He never wanted it. He doesn't want it now. He just wants to jerk off on the citizens of King's Landing and
Yeah.
just enjoy his life.
Yeah, exactly. I am the prince and deal with me in all my glory. That's basically what's going on. And you see a little bit of that glory when he's out, practicing swordsmanship. Rhaenyra's kids are there, his siblings are also there, and they're just play fighting. And then he thinks, hey, I'm too good for this. I don't need this. I need a man to fight against. So Kristen Cole's like, okay, me, let's do it. And so then they're practicing, and then you see that father, right? He's lurking there. He's looking at this like, why are you only paying attention to these Targaryens? Don't you know that these are also Targaryen heirs? And so then Kristen Cole's like, fine, oldest against oldest. And we know that the age difference is pretty big, but you see that they start going at it, and Aegon is like, I am gonna get you.
That's right. And we saw, at least with Rhaenyra's kids, man, they are fierce, right? I have no doubt that they are going to be ass kickers as soon as they get older, because you could see that. You see the drive in them and what they want versus Aegon. It's completely night and day.
Overpowers him at first, and then how Rhaenyra's child like fights back and gets at him, and then Kristen Cole has to say, kick him, don't let off. Finish him, right? And then he's like, don't you dare do that. That's fighting dirty. And he goes at it against Kristen Cole, which is a big no, because if you're the father and you want no one to know that you're the father, how in the hell are you going to start picking a fight with the King's Guard?
I'm telling you, but it's hard though, man. Like, if somebody came at my kids like that, I don't care what secrets I had to hide, man. I would be beating his ass to no.
That's true, but you pretty much signed away your death sentence as well. And during this whole thing, you see King Viserys is sitting up there watching all of this happen. And when it first starts, he's like, oh, everyone is spending time together and practicing. We're just a big, happy family. And it's like, no, you weren't even a big, happy family with your own brother. You think these kids are going to be happy together? And that bubble gets burst when he sees them, going at it. So he continues to shut his ears, close his eyes, be that ostrich. He wants nothing to do with reality. He's living in his own bubble. Alicent tries and tries to poke at it, calling his grandsons savages. Like, don't you see they're savages? Don't you see how they act? They're not true blood. And he's like, shut up and never say that to me again. So it's just a big old mess. And on the flip side, with Daemon, when he's introduced in this episode, he's with Laena. So those flirtatious eyes, that dance resulted in a relationship. He is now with Laena. They are out in Pentos. They're enjoying life. Or, well, he is enjoying a carefree life, whereas she is busy having kids.
Let's talk about, the introduction, the entrance, Daemon on his dragon. And finally, we see Vhagar. She looks beautiful. She looks massive.
Yeah.
Amazing, right? So, and we know from Game of Thrones that the dragons, as they get older, they get bigger. They don't stop growing. So this was a massive dragon. But this is where I feel like things were rushed. Like, I know in episode 1 or 2, Viserys says that, hey, look, Vhagar is missing. We don't know where she is. Right, and all of a sudden she's here, and
so maybe the Valerians had the dragon the whole time, and they didn't know. So that's the thing. Maybe. There's a lot of one-upsmanship that happens in these houses, and also we see throughout the episode that they keep talking about dragon eggs. Some kids have the dragon, some kids don't have the dragon, and here Laena even talks to her daughter and says, you might not have a dragon that hatched, but if you want to be a rider, you can earn that dragon. You can earn that position.
Yeah, she talks later on,
we see how she's going to get it, because we have another birth scene. This birth scene was horrible, but one thing that did happen when the physician went to Daemon and said, look, she's straining, but I cannot do anything. The child will not come out. If you want, I can cut the abdomen and get the baby out, but I can't ensure whether the baby will survive. What do you want me to do?
And well, he said that he definitely knows that the mom is not going to survive. He said that very clearly.
He said that very clearly. And Daemon, unlike his brother, Viserys, did not sentence her to death. He said no.
We don't know though for sure, because they never really, they kind of zoomed out of that or kind of went to the next scene. They never really said or showed us Daemon actually saying no. I mean, I think I think
it's pretty obvious, because his brother clearly was like, yeah, get that kid out. Here, the doctor asked again and again, and he was looking at her straining, and he still wouldn't say, because there is some kind of at least emotional connection there. And then you see when Laena can't take it, she's walking towards her dragon. She's
Yeah.
telling that dragon, Dracarys, Dracarys. And the dragon is
Oh
like,
man,
you
that
know,
was
I don't want
epic.
to do it. I don't want to do it. But she's obedient. So breathes fire, and then Laena is gone. And
No.
while that's taking place, you see Daemon coming, trying to stop her from doing what she's doing, but it's too late.
But
And
I
then
don't
you see in
understand
the
that this
end,
is
her kids are looking at her crying. But now there's a dragon who needs a dragon rider. So maybe
that's
her
right.
daughter will take that mantle.
Maybe, but I don't understand. Like, this is where is it the writing or what is it, right? So she is laying down, she's in pain, she can, and just she just says, "Okay, I'm just gonna walk, take a walk, I'm good," right? I mean, everybody's right there.
She clearly is in pain. She knows
Yeah.
this is not going anywhere. She's going to die anyways, but instead of prolonging the ordeal, because maybe she knows that no one is going to help me like commit suicide. So she is
No.
just going and, you know, she's doing this. And then she knows that she has a dragon that will listen to her.
Oh
On the
man.
flip side, Elena had talked to Daemon, like, look, I might not have been the best wife. Maybe you're disappointed with me, but you are not the man I married. Why are you wasting your time and considering being a lord here in Pentos? This is
Yep.
not our home. I want my kids growing up with their family in our home.
And she
So
says, I want us to die as dragon riders, right? Not just somebody sitting and just having
yeah,
fruits at the house, right? I think
yeah.
that's the
So
reason that
Damon was like,
she,
no, this is a transaction. The Pentosi have gold, we have dragons, and we need gold because Martells are brought up here. Dorne is brought up again. The
yeah,
Tyroshi pirates, they're brought up again. Their clothing and all of that. So we have hints and pieces of the Game of Thrones world we know. And we know that these houses obviously exist here. Another a place that we were introduced to here was Harrenhal. That's where the
yeah.
Strongs are from. And you see that the fight that Strong picked with Kristen Cole did not end well because his father was irate, and his father goes to King Viserys and says, "Look, I don't think I should be the hand anymore. My son, screwed up, and I think it's time for my son to go to Harrenhal, take his seat there. He doesn't deserve any of this." And Viserys was like, "No, no, 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 no. You're the only one that has stood by me. You are the best advisor I have." And
Agreed.
Alicent is listening to this,
Yep, yep.
you know.
I agreed with that because actually he had given him all the episodes we've seen. He had given him solid advice. He's been
Yeah.
the best character there is, right? Not selfish, doesn't have his own interests, really
Yeah.
cares about the king and what's good for the Targaryens.
Well, speaking of selfish, maybe he's in it for his own means. I mean, he's with the princess, and now he has to be sent off to Harrenhal, and his father follows suit. But if we're talking about selfish in the Strong household, it's also Larys. Remember, Larys is that
Oh,
slithering snake who's with Alicent, trying to figure out how to do things. He wants Alicent's father to come back, Hightower back into the picture. He wants a place for himself because he cannot be a knight. You know, he has issues, he can't walk right or whatever it is, so he
right.
can't be a knight. So he wants to make his presence felt, and that presence is felt in the proximity of the queen. I guess he's her advisor.
Yeah,
And
he's her
you see
hand
what
of
he
sorts, right?
does. He goes into the cells. These guys have been sentenced to death, and he says, I can get you out of here, but for a price. So then you see a guy's head goes down and his tongue is seared off, so
Yep.
he can't speak. And then we see why. That was insane.
So okay, so Larius may be the best villain in the show, no doubt about that. What a psychopath, man! This dude. He went from weird king guy that we saw in the previous episodes, and then he murdered his whole family. Like what? He murdered his dad. He murdered his brother.
Yeah. So
Wow.
maybe he's a psychopath, or maybe his family never saw his worth, so he's taking advantage. Whatever. Maybe I'm making excuses for him right now, but I like gray characters. I think they're very interesting. And here, Laris is like, wait, I might be being used, but I'm also using everyone there. And he takes matters into his own hand. Harrenhal is lit on fire, and his brother is stuck, and his dad is stuck there. Their burned corpses are shown. You don't know for sure if they died, but it's like, how did they get out? That fire was
Yeah,
humongous.
yeah,
And then Alicent, who comes and she's like, I didn't want any of this. And he's like, well, oops, that's what you wanted.
that's
So he
right.
kind of is putting the onus on her. And you see her face. She did not want that.
She wanted to play the game of Thrones with strategy, with mind, not with bloodshed. That's for
Exactly.
sure.
Props to her. She doesn't want
Yeah,
bloodshed, but she still wants what's best for her son and her line. And you see Rhaenyra, she has to go to Dragonstone. She's like, I should have gone years ago. Laenor, let's go. There's nothing for us here. And the thing here is that while she's going off to Dragonstone, Daemon is on his way back. He's not going to stay in Pentos now. And you see that Harrenhal is out of the picture. So Hightower has the inroads now over here. But other than that, nothing much. I guess that is a lot that happened if you think about it, but it
It
wasn't that
is.
exciting. There was a lot of like chess going on, but
There
these were
was.
moves that we already knew that were gonna take place.
Yeah.
It wasn't
But to be
anything surprising.
but to be honest with you, I was surprised by one fact. Well, actually, no, I don't know. Surprising is the right word. But in previous episodes, we always saw Damon as this badass, and he is doing all the wrong things, right, and killing and all of that stuff. We saw Rhaenyra as this clever, strong, fierce type of thing. We saw Alicent in just calm, collected, and just obeying role throughout the episodes.
Yeah.
This is completely changed. We see
Yeah.
Damon as the nice guy in this episode. He's caring for his kids, caring for his wife, right? And we saw Rhaenyra, same thing, caring for herself, her kids, and her
Well,
lover.
Rhaenyra has always cared for herself.
That she did, but we saw that we saw the
No,
softer
but you
side of
also saw
Rhaenyra in this.
her being antagonizing towards Alicent. We also saw her trying to win Alicent's favor by saying, "Hey, why don't we get your daughter Helena married to my son? That way
Yep.
it stays in the family and we can be friends again." And Alicent's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll think about it." But is she gonna think about it? No, because she says to Viserys, "Oh, that's like a wounded, tiger who's trying to play it nice," or whatever
No,
that
big
analogy
mistake.
she uses. And obviously, she's not going to let that happen. She's not that
No,
stupid. She was betrayed by Rhaenyra. She trusted Rhaenyra at one point. She's not going to trust her again.
yeah,
So
that's true.
now is definitely going to be interesting to see now that Alicent is at the keep and Rhaenyra is at Dragonstone, what happens from there?
I
Especially
think Damon's
when
gonna come
Daemon
in and
comes, when Hightower makes another appearance, like what is
yeah.
going to happen next?
I seriously feel, at least for right now, Damon and Rhaenyra are going to be together with that thing, and they are going to kick some ass of these green people because man, they deserve it.
Green
Both Sir
people?
Kristen, yeah, the green, that's what the green house or whatever, right? Because they deserve it. Sir Kristen, number one, man, kick his butt first, and then Alicent, yep, she is just horrible, horrible, and then well, Loris
Alicent is
actually,
horrible. We are on totally different sides. I do not like Rhaenyra at all. I
I
love
do.
Alicent and I love Daemon. For some reason, I just
Damon is
don't
good.
like Rhaenyra. I find her too self-serving. I find her entitled. She was really good in the initial episodes, but then obviously your personality starts changing, and her personality has become more and more sour. I feel like,
It
and
has, because you have to
Alicent, I
remember,
just love that she was like a pushover. She was just doing things for other people, and then she realized that she was being played, and now she has a backbone, and now
but
she is standing for her kids. If Rhaenyra should stand for her kids, why shouldn't Alicent stand for her kids? Her kids are obviously Viserys' sons.
I agree, but Rhaenyra, you have to remember, right? If you were in her position, where no woman has been on the throne ever in thousands of years before this, right? She has an opportunity. She feels like she has earned it, and she is
Mhm.
going to do everything she can to make sure that happens, right? So whenever she
Yeah,
sees all
I
these other things,
understand that. I agree with all of that. And on the flip side, if I was in Allison's place, I would do the same exact thing
yeah,
as well. This episode was carried by the women. They were all over the place
yes,
in a good way. They were strong, they were assertive, they were all going after what they wanted. So that is a good thing. That shows that these women, whether it's Rhaenyra, whether it's Laena, whether it's Alicent, they're not pushovers.
no,
But one person I missed in this episode was Princess Rhaenys. I would have loved to see her as well because she's not a pushover. She never was. And I
no,
want to see what role she has to play still. Because I'm pretty sure that she's not just gone. She's not
no.
Viserys.
And well,
She
what is
has a
Stacey
role to
up to?
play.
Right? We don't know. I think we missed that, but yeah, we'll see that for sure. But 100%, last thing I will say is, I mean, amazing acting. I was
Yeah.
afraid. I was actually a little bit nervous that, man, are these two women coming in? Are they going to be able to replace the actors that were there before? But they did. Both new Alice and new Rhaenyra. Oh my goodness! I mean, I
Yeah.
am in completely awe at their
Yeah,
skill.
so I am not
Wow.
familiar with Emma, but I am familiar with Olivia Cook. So I knew Olivia Cook as Alicent was going to be great, but I also loved Emma as Rhaenyra, and I think it's really good that the story is progressing in that way because obviously this is not going to be a one-season show, so they have to keep it going, keep it intriguing, because they couldn't have just stayed with teenager Rhaenyra and Alicent for like a whole season. That would have been way too much and
Yeah.
too repetitive, I think, of a storyline. But I do hope maybe maybe in flashbacks, we
Yeah.
see Millie back and we see Emily back, but I don't know if that's just, dreaming here on my part.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I think the show is in capable hands with Emma and Olivia. And I
100%.
can't wait to see what their journey entails next. So, guys, please in the comment section down below, let us know what you think. Are you Team Rhaenyra? Are you Team Alicent? And also, do you agree with the route Alicent has taken? Do you agree with what Rhaenyra is doing? You are so biased. I'm cutting all of that out. Also, guys, please follow me on social media. I am Furry602. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll be back with another review episode next week. See ya!
And can I say that, oh my goodness, the amazing thing was Daemon didn't age at all. And Circus didn't age at all.
He's not old, speckled, and wasting